Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's virtual plant clinic. My name is Bill Lester. I'm with University of Florida IFAS Extension Service in Hernando County. And joining me today is my regular co-host, Lily Browning, who is the Hernando County Florida Friendly Landscape Coordinator. And today's special, I guess, because it's the two of us, which doesn't seem to happen an awful lot anymore
Mhm.
because of conflicting schedules and meetings and conferences and
I
traveling.
and I almost didn't make it. I'm in a different room here at Hernando County Utilities because the room that I generally use for recording, because I'm in a cube, so it's hard to do this kind of thing out in Gen Pop there. But the room I normally use is being painted. So, which I didn't find that out till this morning. So, but
Well,
I have
at
another
least you're not
space.
sitting in the hallway with your laptop in your lap.
That is quite true, and I'm not on the stairway or anything, which could have happened. I thought outside was a bad idea because of the rain, so I'm in the
Yeah.
large classroom where, remember, we used to hold water awareness series and things like that. So I'm in here all by myself.
Yeah,
So
the big room.
yeah, I'm in the big room. So if my voice sounds echoey, that's why.
Well, I'm at home because we have no internet at the office today. We had internet problems, which I guess is normal. It happens.
So we came through
But
a
we
lot of
still found a
obstacles.
way to make it all happen.
We came through a lot of obstacles to get here today. I was offered that the painters would stop if I wanted to do it in there. I'm like, I have no desire to breathe their fumes. Thank you. Find another space.
We could watch paint dripping on your head, I
There
guess.
you go. Yeah.
Okay, well, folks, we obviously went through an awful lot to come here to you today. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask, please feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat box, and we'll be able to see them and read them and show them on the screen and answer them.
And we do have one. We just got both of us from Cindy.
Yes, we do have one that was sent to us through email. And there it is. And let me go back to the email here. This is from Cindy, one of our
And
regular
Camilla. And Camilla.
listeners or viewers. And she says she has no clue what this is attached to her mailbox post.
And
I was
guess
a little
what?
confused what it
And guess
was.
what?
Oh, and Cindy's here. So,
And guess what, Cindy? Neither do we.
well, I looked at this and I thought, is that her trash can or what is that? It's her mailbox post.
hmm
And she asked, she's familiar with bagworms up north. They are found on juniper trees, and bagworms are down here in Central Florida
Yeah, and that's
also.
what this is. Yeah.
You find them on cypress trees. Pretty much, if you have a bulb
Cedar,
cypress, you're going to have some bagworms.
cedar as well.
Cedar sometimes, yeah, and they crawl around. They get all over the place, so it's not
They're not a
unheard
big
of to
deal.
find them like on a post, the side of your house, a wall,
They're
or
really
on your
cool
mailbox.
because they build their house on their bodies. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's the little thing in the upper left-hand corner. It's a caterpillar that drags this little cocoon around with him and lives in it while he's a caterpillar. Then when he's ready to pupate and turn into a moth, he just closes up the front door,
hmm
pupates, and comes out as a little kind of generic brown moth. So that is a bagworm. But this big chunk of stuff, not the
The big,
scientific term, but chunk of stuff on the mailbox post here, Cindy said that she did have some brush piled up on that side for removal about 3 weeks ago. And that's probably what it is some kind of mold or fungus. It's there are different types of water mold that people will find in their gardens, usually on top of wood chip mulch. And um, one very, very common kind is called dog vomit slime mold.
could there be a
So,
worse name?
vocabulary word for today, dog vomit slime mold.
And
And
it's
it's
not,
completely harmless.
does not come from dog vomit. That is a
Has nothing to do
descriptive
with
term.
dogs. It looks like a dog threw up in your garden. And people will see this in their garden on top of the mulch, and they go into a panic. Oh my gosh, what is that? What's going on? Nothing to worry about. It's just one of those things that lives outdoors.
So it'll grow on plastic like that.
Yeah, it gets triggered to reproduce. It's little single cell organisms. They reproduce like crazy, turn into a big mass. And then when the sun comes out and shines on them, they dry up and it goes away, usually within a day or so. So this may be the leftover debris from a slime mold, which is completely harmless. Nothing is going to hatch out of it. Has nothing to do with spiders or insects or anything scary like that.
Yeah, could she just hose it off?
Sure, you can hose it off. You can scrape it off. If you leave it alone, it's going to break down, and then in the next rain or two, it'll wash off.
But you might, Cindy, you mentioned taking or showing your Pinellas County Extension office. I would go ahead and do that because they are also more aware of what's going on locally. And maybe they've had this question many times recently. So I would also double check with them.
Sure, you could always email a picture to them. I'm not even sure who's in Pinellas County Extension at the moment. I don't really know of anybody or work with anybody down there. But they do exist. They have an office.
Oh, absolutely. They've got a very nice office in Largo, I think. With a great with great gardens around it.
And yeah, Cindy says that she's seen it on the lawn by a tree stump. So you have it present in your yard. It's triggered by environmental, like moisture and temperature, time of year, and then it starts, with just a few cells, and they start reproducing and turn into a large glob. And then it can actually move. It'll spread a little bit and move. And then when the sun shines on it, it generally dries up and goes away. So it's very, very short-lived thing. And I think PJ had the same thing, and she had to scrub hard to get it all off. So if it's on a wall or a mailbox post or something, there's probably a little bit of scrubbing or scraping involved if you want to get it completely off. I'm serious. It doesn't hurt anything. It's not dangerous to people or your garden or your plants or the post or a piece of wood. It's not going to hurt anything.
That would be rather, because it looks pretty large. If that's a 4x4 post, then that's a good 2x4 blob there, 2x4 inches or so.
Yeah, and that's what I would have guessed it was. And even if Cindy hadn't said that there had been brush up against it, I would have been thinking, well, that's what it looks like, but I have no idea how it got there. Right. So it's probably the brush piled up against it for a bit, and then it came off the branches of the brush.
Okay. Now, if it was much, much, much smaller, there's another thing that's out right now, isn't there, Dr. Lester? Maybe you can find a picture of a tussock moth.
Sure. Here, let me go ahead and turn this off. It is tussock moth season.
And yep, I've been getting some questions about them. One of my coworkers who goes out and walks, or she complains that they were on her car. Why were they on her car? And because your car was under an oak tree, that they were on mine too. Good morning, Bassem.
Okay, let me stop sharing that one. And let me see if I can show what a tussock moth looks like.
They are a nuisance because of the cocoons that they create.
Oh.
Can you make the pictures bigger?
Yeah, we have. Let me try that again.
So, while he's searching, these tussock moths, and there are different kinds, they all look a little different. They're hairy moths. They are not, there's one, they're not like, they won't sting you badly, but some people have reactions to them. So it is best not to touch them. You know, they're not like a pus caterpillar or something that will really sting you like a wasp. But some people do have reactions to them. But they're everywhere right now where there's oak trees, and they're falling out of the oak trees because they want to start the next cycle of their life, which is they're going to create a cocoon. Them falling out of the oak trees and on your head is pretty gross, but the more nuisance part are the cocoons, and they are tan. How would you describe it? You know, kind of hairy, almost sort of woven cocoons that stick to the walls of your house or anything at all that it can find. So that is the annoying part is their cocoons. So what do we suggest for treatment for these?
There's no treatment recommended because they come out every spring and they feed on your oak tree leaves in the early spring. And they'll be up in your oak tree eating away, and you have absolutely no idea they're there. When they get larger and they're getting closer to when they want to make a cocoon and pupate and turn into a little moth, they come down out of the trees. They either crawl down the trunk or just drop out of the tree and fall on your head, which can happen, or on your car or all over your driveway. But they drop out of the tree and then they crawl a lot of times on the side of your house and make their cocoon. So by the time you notice that they're around, they're dropping out of the tree, it's too late to spray or do anything.
You can't spray that high up in
no
oak tree.
And they don't. I've never seen them seriously damage an oak tree. They do eat the leaves, but it's early in the spring. So what does your oak tree do? Makes new leaves. Doesn't really bother the oak trees at all.
So when these cocoons do get everywhere, and if you leave tools out or whatever, they'll, you know, if you have a car that you don't move much, they could get up under the car. People say use tweezers, you know, to get them off. You can hose and scrape once they're done. Yeah. I have tried in years past. I don't have as much of a problem where I live now in the western part of the county, but when I lived in the oak hammock of Brooksville, and I remember saying, and Diana has kind of hit on this, and we're getting to poop really quickly this time. I remember saying to somebody, it's, you know, I can stand out at my house and hear all the caterpillars falling like rain. And the person, who was Stacy Strickland, by the way, of course, Dr. Lester, informed me that I was not hearing the caterpillars falling. I was hearing their excrement falling like rain. So I'm sure I made your day with that. But
if you have a lot, they poop a lot. So
well, I learned because I was trying to hose them off my house as they were crawling up the house, and just try to hose them off with water. So I can tell you, don't try that. That's a big waste of water because they think that is fun. It's like a water slide, and they'll be like, woohoo, do that again, and they'll start all over again. So really all you can do is clean up the cocoons when they're done.
Yeah, and when they're done and they're leftover cocoons, or if you have them on your house, you want to get rid of them. Garden hose and scraping works. Pressure washing lightly works. They're not difficult to get rid of. They don't damage anything underneath.
The good thing in this publication that you're showing will state that is that there is 50% parasitic rate with them, meaning that wasps or other things are going to get them and kill them, and so only 50% of them are going to survive.
Yes, they are fed. Birds eat them. Other animals and lizards can eat them. They do have beneficial insects, little wasps that lay their eggs in them and kill them. So out of all those caterpillars that come crawling out of or dropping out of your tree, generally very few of them are going to survive to adulthood. And these guys are funny because the population goes along year to year to year, and then we'll have like an outbreak year every couple of years, just a huge number of them, and we get buried with phone calls and people coming to the office during those years. Then the next year the population crashes and you end up with very few of them.
Where the only time I've really heard of, you know, how they can cause reactions on skin is, of course, at schools where there's a lot of oak trees in the playground. And of course, kids aren't going to leave these alone. So if they are handling them, the kids might have some skin reactions to those little hairs that the caterpillars have. There you go. You have a very positive attitude, Diana. Free fertilizer. And I was wondering too, when you said they ate the first new growth and then the oak trees will, you know, re-leaf again. I'm wondering if that is just part of the natural process, if that is like helpful.
It is, because oak trees are native to Florida, and these guys are native also. They're not invasive, so they've coexisted and co-developed over a long time. But they can look a little bit different. Technically, there are 3 different species. There's one that's the dominant one here in Central Florida. You have slightly different color forms. So they all look similar, but the coloring could be a little bit different.
And the good news is also in a couple of weeks, it'll be all over with.
Oh, sure.
And then we'll have love bugs.
Or something else.
Yes.
Here, PJ shared something interesting. She has a backyard screech owl cam and learned that they don't poop. They cough up the solids and take it away from the nesting box. And just the other day, we noticed that we have, and I'm not even sure what type of owl it is. It's the little small one. We have one that lives in our backyard and hangs out and kind of.
That could be a screech owl, could be a little barn owl. But I think the screech owls are the really little ones. They're so cute.
Probably.
Yeah, they just hack up that's how they. And so you will find this big blob of animal parts and other things that came from the owl. So.
Yeah, we probably have a screech owl, and I've just recently noticed him. And every morning when I get up and put the dog out, it's still dark right now, and he's hanging around the backyard, kind of keeping guard, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. PJ has a centipede issue.
PJ found an enormous centipede that's about 6 inches long. It's fat and beige and tan. Will it hurt my plants? It was burrowing in the base of my newly planted, fully grown crinum. It hissed when I moved it away. Centipedes do not damage plants. I believe they're carnivorous. And we do have big ones here. You don't see them very often, but they're as big as your finger.
Yeah, I see them. Just as she described, they like to be at my front door for some reason. Or that could be just where, I don't notice them other places. And I have a plant bed there. So they're probably just scurrying along. I kind of do a little dance too, especially if I'm in sandals or flip-flops or something. You feel a little vulnerable with something like that and your bare feet right there. But it's not interested in you. It wants to get back to that plant bed and eat some of the bugs and stuff that are in it.
Yeah, and something with centipedes or millipedes, I'm not even sure which, because I've just taken it as phone calls. Sometimes during the summer, after a lot of rain, people will have a huge outbreak of them, and they'll have just huge numbers of them in their driveway, on the sidewalk, trying to get in their garage, and they go into a panic. But they usually go away after a week or two, and that's another, if the conditions are perfect, their population explodes and goes through the roof. Yeah, I usually get about 2 calls a year on that one. And it's screech owls that are 6 to 9 inches long. So yeah, that's about how big he is. They're nocturnal. Yeah, I see them out there, not so much in the evening, but pre-dawn. Since with the time change, it doesn't get light until closer to 8. I'm up. When I get up, it's still pitch black out, and he's out there. Or maybe they're out there. I don't know how many I have.
The dogs don't care about what time the clock says.
Nope. When I get up, time for him to go out and take care of business too.
Gigantic slugs and scorpions, grasshoppers, and things I don't know. Lots of things going
Hey, Lily,
on.
here's one for you.
I have a tall, slim native plant around that has a tiny purple 3-petal flower on top, and it seems a single stem plant because clusters of 3 open at a time. And there's roadside flowers around Ocala National Forest. I don't think that means in sales, but pink and low. What could they be? Okay, let's answer one question at a time. I think your purple flower is a lyre leaf flower. I can't remember, but it's Lyre leaf, because the leaves are actually shaped like the instrument, the lyre. That's what I'm thinking. Your wildflower, which a lot of people will consider weeds, but we don't. It's a great wildflower that attracts pollinators. And your roadside flowers, that's an easy one. Yes, lyre leaf sage. Thank you, Sid. Sid is always she's just always there when I need her. Lyre leaf sage. Funny, I forgot that because my granddaughter's name is Sage. The flowers that you're talking about on the roadside in Ocala are also on the roadside here and in many places in Central Florida this time of year. They are called phlox. I am not being sarcastic. It is not Flocks. It is Phlox. They are Phlox, phlox. They were planted there. They are part of the Lady Bird Johnson wildflower, program on the roadsides. The ones you see on the roadside, let me back up. There is a native flock, but then in Florida, but our native flocks are not going to spread as beautifully as the ones that you see on the roadside. The pink, the white, the purples. They're all up and down 19. Yeah, Ocala really has wonderful displays of them. Those are Phlox drummondii. They are a Texas cousin of our native phlox. And because of what they want, the beautiful spreading ability. So these Texas cousins have this beautiful spreading ability, and they are purposefully planted by the state. They have, of course, moved themselves around, and as part of a beautification program. And it is illegal. You will be fined to try and pick them or the seeds. But you can find them at floridawildflowers.org. You can order some of your own. And it's a fantastic time of year to see those phlox. So you didn't think
once you know what the name of the wildflower is, you can generally buy seeds online from the Florida Wildflower
Foundation
Association, or possibly a native plant group or a nursery. There's a lot of native plant nurseries nowadays, and it's really good to help support them, especially local ones. And
right.
I didn't type that, but I knew that it's Texas phlox that are all over the medians.
It looks like you're typing that, doesn't it?
It does.
I could make you say a lot of things. Phlox drummondii. I mean, that's pretty close if that's not the exact spelling of it. But you will, if you go to the Florida Wildflower Foundation or floridawildflowers.org, they have seed packs that you can buy. So, and when they're on state roads, they're not allowed to mow them until, they're done and go to seed and everything. I think they're a very pleasant part of living in Florida this time of year when the phlox are out.
Yeah, and if you find something that grows just great alongside of the road, it's probably going to do just fine in your yard also. So that's obviously.
Be very careful, with that. These were put there on purpose, but don't just go grabbing stuff on the side of the road. First of all, it's illegal to, as I said, pick or even get the seeds for these. I didn't know that in 1986. Okay, I was not even quite 19, and I, giving myself away, thought they would be a great bridal bouquet. So don't turn me in for something I did 36 years ago. But,
I think you're safe now.
yeah. The what you call it, statute of limitations is up on that one.
I would hope so.
The marriage lasted too. It's still going on. But yeah, that's what those beautiful ones are. And like I said, the purple are the lyre leaf sage. Now, if you're more in northern Florida, very soon take a ride up like Lake City, places like that. You'll have black-eye Susans on the side of the road, just carpets of them. And those are native. And wow, it's gorgeous. It's a photographer's dream to ride up there and get some pictures of those.
Yeah.
So
if anybody has any other questions, just feel free to go ahead and share them in the chat. And all the native plant questions are obviously going to go to Lily, because I knew the Texas phlox. I didn't know what the other one was.
And see, now I know I'm right, because, Sid thought the same thing. And those just pop up anywhere. That's why people think, they're a weed. You can buy them by the pound, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you got to, they're blooming now, so now's not the time to plant them. You have to research that and look at the seed packets and things when it tells you to.
Yeah, a lot of times those different things, wildflowers and certain native plants, you need to plant in the fall so that they come up in the spring. So, I mean, you can look up and get some information on exactly when to plant it.
She's looking for the white or lavender star-shaped flower ground cover that she's seen on the roadside. What might that one be? I don't know if there are some white ones. You might be talking about Florida blue-eyed grass. They're mostly blue here, but I've heard there's a white variety. Maybe Sid can back me up on that. That's another one of my absolute favorites, called Florida blue-eyed grass. It bothers me because their eyes are not blue. Their eyes are yellow. But and that's another in my slide last week. Yeah, maybe you can email me which slide we were referring to in one of my classes or so. I know Florida blue-eyed grass is out right now. And there's all kind of wildflowers. And PJ, if you look back on Hernando County Government YouTube, last year, right when COVID started, so 2 years ago, I went on, wildflower hunting trips, and we did some classes on that. So maybe what you're looking for might pop up there as well.
Yeah, for everybody, if you get a chance, go and look up Hernando County Government YouTube channel. And Lily has a playlist on there, and I have a playlist, and we have a lot of classes. Lily has a lot of classes. How many do you have on there?
Probably close to 75.
Yeah, she has a lot of recorded classes on there that cover everything.
Everything Florida friendly. It's amazing how many ways you can break out 9 principles. Crunchy, thick, dark green foliage. In the background for words in your slide.
We're narrowing it down, I think.
Was it from yesterday? I'm not, probably as soon as I see it, I'll know exactly what you're referring to. Yeah, there you go. Email me and I will research and we'll get back to that. It's just not popping in my head, which slide. We do a lot of classes, don't we?
We do a lot of different topics, and sometimes it gets a little hard to think up new topics, but then something just pops in your head.
Yep.
What do we have? I guess we're gonna be doing one on freedom lawns
As
soon.
I was teaching yesterday, this title popped in my head: Freedom Lawns, a grassroots movement. Boom. We need to work on that one. And we might actually, you
For
mentioned
people who have, what would you call it, more informal lawns, but a
sure,
combination of turf, grass, and weeds, basically, if you want to
yes,
get
and
right
how
down
that
to
is
it.
actually, it's becoming in vogue. My laziness all these years has paid off. It's becoming in vogue.
But it's great for a lot of really important reasons nowadays. You save on water, which is becoming more and more important. As more people move to Florida and more pressure is put on our water supplies, things are going to get tighter. So I can tell you right now, the days of being able to just water your lawn with the irrigation system a couple times a week whenever you want, those days are gone.
Yeah.
And
Well,
if we do go into a drought period, which is natural for Florida, if you look at historical data, the graph of rainfall goes like this: up and down, up and down, up and down, wet, dry, wet, dry. So we go into another dry period, and there's going to be even tougher watering restrictions. So
I
freedom
think
lawns, you don't need
PJ,
water. Save on fertilizer. Save on insecticides. Price of fertilizer apparently has been going through the roof.
I think PJ was talking about fog fruit. Can you pull up a picture of fog fruit or fog fruit when she's asking about the other one, not that one?
Oh, you could do that too. Okay.
I bet you that's fog fruit that she was referring to. Crunchy, thick, dark green foliage. And we did have it in the background as one of our slides.
No, she said
Nope.
not frog fruit.
Florida pusley is my other guess. That
That
was a
could be.
weed.
Pusley does get a little
Yeah.
white flower.
Uh-huh. And that I did have like as a whole background when we were discussing weeds. Florida pusley. Look that up. So. I think that was it. Yeah, the fourth to last slide a week ago.
Here's one, and this is about pusley control in pastures, but
It's a picture
it's the
anyway.
same
Yeah.
thing. There we go. So this is when it first sprouts. This is what it, and that's really not. It looks like that, but
Great picture.
this is a much better picture. This is what it looks like all over my lawn.
Mm-hmm. I
And it
think if you look
gets,
up weed control UF, that's where I got the banner with the picture that I used. So.
and it does flower, gets little white flowers.
And that is
So
just going to show up naturally in your yard.
if you have frog fruit that's a host plant for 3 different butterflies, and pusley that's flowering for the little butterflies to visit when they hatch, you will end up with an amazing number of butterflies all hanging out in your yard. Happens to me every summer. I walk out in the backyard and there are just butterflies all over the place. My wife's like, oh my gosh, she's just amazed where they all come from, because we have a freedom lawn.
There you go. Now, we didn't coin that term, but it's a great term. Okay, she
And
wants the pusley. I
BJ,
don't know if
this
anybody
is going to be a
sells
tough
it.
one to buy
Yeah.
seeds or plant.
I don't know that anybody sells it. It's just may all your weeds be wildflowers, but it's just, a weed. But maybe if you have a neighbor or someone who has some, you can just, they probably won't complain if you take some.
And Lee has it down in Broward County, so it's I assume it's all over Florida. I'm sure it is.
Mm-hmm. She has another question about a brilliant white flower with dandelion leaves, but more rigid and growing vertical. But
that's the one you tried answering.
No, no, that was the pusley. The other thing I know, that flowers and grows vertically is primrose, portulaca, and that comes in different colors, yellows and pinks usually.
Oh, what about beggar tick, Biden's alba?
She says it's growing vertically. Oh, vertically. I'm thinking horizontally.
Yeah, no, it grows tall. Gosh, it'll get 8 feet tall.
Very well could be Spanish needle.
Yeah, it's called Spanish needle, beggar tick, Biden's alba.
Mm-hmm.
All the same thing. I have a lot of that in my yard. It comes up, and if I don't pull it up, it'll get to be 8 feet tall.
Right. I have the love-hate relationship with it because it wants to take over my flower bed. I don't want to take it all the way out. Well, I know I can't, so it doesn't bother me to actually pull it because I know it's going to keep coming back. But also, when you go out there and every pollinator you can imagine is all over it, you just don't have the heart to try and get rid of it completely out of your yard. You don't want it where you brush up against it or where your dog does or anything, because it does put those bigger ticks, the stickers all over you. But
so, do the leaves of that look like marijuana? I guess we've done the whole gamut at this point. We've already covered insect poop and.
Where do you see marijuana? She said dandelion. But it looks like dandelion leaves, but more rigid. What are you thinking about there, Dr. Lester? I haven't seen marijuana yet in a question, but okay. Hey, you know what we did figure out though? You and I had discussed this, and I sent it the email to you because we had a meeting with other people in the state who cover Florida-friendly landscaping. And they mentioned there's this IFAS, Institute of Food and Agricultural Science, assessment out there. And really it's covering all non-native plants and what they feel about them. And some of them they're calling, have a caution, like plant with caution and things like that. And some of them are pretty surprising, the plants they're putting on there. But you and I were not surprised that beyond caution, marijuana was on the caution list, different types of hemp. And I was like, I told you, I called it. I knew that was going to happen because there was going to be so much interest. And we're going to, suddenly it's going to, look at that high invasive risk.
Yes, University of Florida has a department that evaluates all different, landscape plants and all different plants. And they put it through a number of different tests to determine, is it invasive or non-invasive, potentially invasive. And there are a lot of plants that are highly invasive in South Florida, a risk in Central Florida, but not invasive in North Florida, because North Florida gets enough cold weather where these plants are not going to establish and grow like crazy and go nuts up there. So they did do an assessment of medical cannabis, which there is an industry, a growing industry here in Florida and in a lot of different Southeast states. I know the Carolinas have been doing a lot of work on it. Georgia's been doing a lot of work. University of Florida is involved in that for medical reasons and also for other industrial reasons.
University of Florida is in it for research reasons, so people can sell it for medical reasons. Be careful how you say the University of Florida is in it for medical reasons.
Well, you do medical research on it and growing research on it, but apparently it's invasive. So,
and I told you that was going to happen because it's a non-native plant, and every non-native plant that becomes the new answer to everything in life, usually ends up becoming an invasive plant. And there's one more, and we both called that one the Moringa. The Moringa
Yeah,
tree.
Moringa's
Both
technically
knew that
invasive
was
also
coming.
in I'm not sure if it's all of Florida or just South and Central.
And that one upsets a lot of people because they want the Moringa to be the end-all answer as well. And I thought, we both have been around a while, that anytime people focus on one plant that they think is the answer to everything, and it's not a native plant here, it's going to, people get so excited and start planting it everywhere, and then boom, it's an invasive species. I was thinking if that cannabis becomes an invasive species and really does get out of control, what's going to happen when we have brush fires and forest fires, and nobody will care to put them out?
Just kind of job security for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Just sharing the latest research and the latest and greatest of what's being brought into the state and grown in the state, and is it a problem or not?
Mm-hmm. There, I'm answering PJ about how to spell pusley. So.
And PJ, yes, sometimes it's a whole lot easier just to send pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. And I'm glad I got to study a lot of those wildflowers so I could answer some of those questions as well. So we have any other, what else is going on this time of year? We mentioned the tussocks. Oh, you mentioned jitterbugs. What are they?
Sure, jitterbugs are also known as a golden rain tree bug, and it's a small insect. It's also known as red-shouldered bug.
Oh, okay. It looks similar to a box elder bug that you would have seen up north.
A lot of people who move here from up north will look at them and go, well, that's a box elder bug. And they look very, very similar, and they are very closely related. Box elder bugs live up north and feed on the seeds that fall off of box elder trees. Technically, it's in the Ligus family, which is seed-eating bugs. And the jitterbug or golden rain tree bug does the same thing, but it feeds on the little seeds that come off of your golden rain trees. So if you have a golden rain tree, you're going to have jitterbugs. If your neighbor has a golden rain tree and the little flowers that fall off in the fall and early winter blow into your yard, you're going to have them also. The problem is here in Central Florida, we have big outbreaks in the spring, and you'll end up with not just a few, you'll end up with 5 million of them. They're all over the ground. They're all up a trunk of a tree. I've seen them on the side of a wall of a house by the garage, and the wall's just covered with little black bugs. And people absolutely flip out. They think they're dangerous. They think it's going to bite their children, damage their house, whatever it might be. And they are not harmful at all. All they do is they feed on the seeds of the golden rain tree. And here in Central Florida, we'll get a big outbreak right around now, and they generally die off and disappear in a few weeks. If you look real close, you can find a few of them for a much longer period of time. If you live in South Florida, they're active down there pretty much year round. And believe it or not, they are not present in a good part of North Florida. Panhandle does not have them. They may have box elder bugs, though. How far south do box elder trees grow?
I have no idea. I don't know. I'll have to ask Buddy if he has any up there in Tallahassee.
I think they can grow in Gainesville, because I kind of remember that from my plant ID class, but they're not widely grown. So if you search,
golden rain trees are Category 1 invasive species. Anyway, I think they're Category 1. Maybe they're 2. But they're an invasive species. They're beautiful. They are beautiful, and they give you lots of yellow and like salmon colors in the fall. But they are an invasive species. They can take over natural, areas. So, and the number one way to get rid of those bugs, or not to have them every spring, is to not to have the golden rain tree. There you go. answer, right, for you.
Yeah. If you get rid of that golden rain tree and then you rake up all the seeds and litter and everything, because golden rain trees are messy. They drop a lot of junk all over your yard. So if you get rid of the tree and you rake up the debris, within a year or so, you won't have Chidera bugs anymore, because why would they live in your yard at that point? You don't have any golden rain tree seeds for them to be interested in.
And they're actually doing you a favor, so you don't have a golden rain tree forest right in your yard.
Sure, because if all the seeds that those trees drop germinated, the lawn, the turf, your flower beds, everything anywhere near that tree would just be covered with little golden rain trees coming up. But I like Jenny's idea. Welcome, Jenny. Jenny said, I allow my grandchildren to play with them to show how harmless they are. They call them cute baby red bugs.
Okay. We got some little entomologists blooming there. Bill likes to show his grandkids bugs too. Go out at night with a flashlight and look for bugs, don't you?
There's always something out there to find. Here, let me pull up a picture of Chidera bugs. And they go by a number of different names.
We call them a number of different names anyway. I bet you they have no idea what their name is.
They are called scentless plant bugs. So they're not stink bugs. They don't give off the stinky liquid if you touch them or pick them up like stink bugs do. When they're very young and just hatched, they have a lot of red on them. So here's a large group of young ones, immature ones. When they get closer to being adults and they're adults, they're mostly black, but they always have that red up on their shoulders, just right behind their head. So that's how they get the other name, red shoulder bugs. But they look like this, and they're harmless. And dun dun dun, there's what a golden rain tree looks like. And there's what your typical adult looks like. See, he just has red shoulders. The rest of him is black.
The other advantage to golden rain trees is every invasive species, they grow quickly. That's in their nature. And so a tree that grows quickly grows weakly, meaning it grows very weak, meaning in a storm, you know, you could have pieces of it, if not the whole thing, down in your yard, on your house. So that's another consideration as to why maybe you should not have a golden rain tree.
Yeah, both golden rain trees and camphor trees are very twiggy. They leave a lot of little branches and litter. So you're going to have to go out there and clean up an awful lot. They can be a lot of management involved with them. But if you look at management for Chidera bugs, it says control is not necessary. And then I hate when they do this, when they throw in the last sentence, if non-chemical methods are not practical, consult your local office of the Cooperative Extension Service for insecticide recommendations. I will not give you any because no control is necessary.
I was thinking of that yesterday, seeing some of the publications. You know, I go to these publications for answers, and then they end up saying, go to your county extension office, and it turns into a big circle. It's like, well, I'm looking to you for the answer.
Yeah.
That must be.
And they say, well, just go to them for the answer.
We have about 11 more minutes if we have any other questions. Oh, let me take this time. Oh, wait, PJ saying not Spanish needle. But first, let me advertise. Wherever you are in Florida today, go out to your garage, go to that little box on your wall, if you happen to run an irrigation system, and turn it to off. We're going to get plenty of rain very soon, if you're not already having it. And you don't need to be irrigating your lawn this week. That's my public service announcement.
That's your tip for today.
Yes. It's not Spanish needle. I had 5 of them. I had them 5 feet. You have to send me a picture, PJ. How tall are they? 5 feet tall. Okay, because I was worried for a second that you might be talking about, what am I thinking of, Bill? The stuff that'll sting you, stinging nettle, because that's out now too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different nettles. There's the purple one that gets really tall. It has a huge flower and butterflies love it.
But you got to be careful out there. I was thinking, looking around my yard, and I have some grandsons coming from Pennsylvania, and I'm thinking this is a danger zone for them because they don't know how to navigate in Florida, and mine is pretty wild. And I've got the cactus, around. I just can't think of anything today. The native one with the yellow flower. And I've got stinging nettle and greenbrier galore. Not that I want that, but
that has little thorns.
So I'm like, yeah, they just they find everything to rip their skin apart in my yard.
Here's one I think I know. PJ has cobalt blue front, bronze back, and lizards. That is probably a 6-lined skink. And I had them in Deltona. I have some here. They're beautiful. And they eat lots of bugs. When you see them outside, they're usually chasing down a bug. So nothing wrong with that. Cindy's asking about huge spiders in Georgia, the size of a palm.
Oh, no.
I haven't heard about those.
They expect them to invade the entire East Coast. Cold does not bother them. Have not heard that one, and I'm actually quite surprised I haven't heard it because I mentioned him earlier, Dr. Stacy Strickland, who is the director in Osceola County now, who told me that it was poop coming out of the trees that I was hearing. He's from Georgia, so if there was anything exciting like that, I'm sure he would have sent me an article on it. But I'll keep an eye out for that.
And PJ has a stumper bug ID with no photos. Looks exactly like the American cockroach, but all legs and antenna are feathered.
You're the entomologist, Dr. Lester.
American cockroaches and Australian cockroaches both have somewhat feathered antenna and legs. Technically, the legs just have large number of spines on them. So it is probably either an American cockroach or an Australian cockroach.
And they can be in the pine tree.
Not a whole lot of difference between them. They're both considered, when people say palmetto bugs, they're both basically palmetto bugs.
Oh, so they're the big ones.
Yeah. Really big ones that fly.
Yes. Said that's what there are Facebook memes that say everyone is really brave until the cockroach flies.
And PJ's read about that spider also.
Well, then we better do some research, huh? You should get Teresa on that one. That would interest her. Spiders flying in the
wind. Says no, like feathers. I know palmetto bugs. I really need a picture for that one.
Yeah, try to get a picture. I'm going to have to find a way. I guess I'll be flying out of Florida from now on because I'm going to be avoiding Georgia, I think.
Yeah, no Georgia for me for a bit.
You were talking about going to Savannah, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh gosh. My wife heard that now. She's going to be check for spiders. Are there spiders here?
Home-sized spiders, Nora.
That's what we have the dog for. So I guess as we wrap it up here, we're going to show both of our emails once again. So if you run across any interesting photos, feel free to email them. That's the quickest and easiest way to get in touch with me. Or you can always call our office and talk to Teresa, and there's the phone number.
Let's talk about Earth Day, our Earth Day celebration before we go.
Okay, here we're getting closer. Cindy says it's a yellow Joro spider. I'll have to look that up. I haven't gotten an email on that one.
It could be something like the murder hornets, which is, more hype than reality. But we'll see what we can find out.
Well, that's okay, because George is going to eventually get huge lizards, tegu lizards from us. So
you're going to have to go through here first. I'm not looking forward to that.
They're here. They've been found in Hernando County.
No way. And how big are they?
They can get, tegus can get 4 feet long.
Where in Hernando County were they found?
You know what? We're going to show that in just a few weeks in the class where, what's the name of it? I Spy Something Out of Place. Where we're going to cover, if you see a 4-foot lizard in your backyard, what are you going to do? Other than, you can call Lily and send her an email, and she's going to wonder, well, what do I do about this? We're going to go through all the different agencies and places that you can send a picture to get something identified, whether it's a lizard or an insect or a bird or a plant or whatever it is. Lots of different resources to get it ID'd. And if it's something like a tegu lizard, should you report it? Who do you report it to? How do you report it? We're going to cover all that. So that is coming up soon. That's going to be Wednesday, April 6th.
Yes. And Tammy must not have been with us at the beginning.
Tammy joined us a little bit late. She's asking anything that you can do about those caterpillars that are out right now. No. Just short answer, no. There's by now, when you notice them coming out of the trees, they're going somewhere to make a cocoon. So there's really no spray. It's too late to spray them. They're done feeding. So they're not going to eat any pesticides.
Right.
They'll be gone within a week or two. I mean, if you see them and they're starting to look for a place to make a cocoon, they're only going to be around another week or so.
And then you can pressure wash the cocoons off of any annoying place where they put them. Says they're pretty fibrous. That's the word I was looking for. Fibrous cocoons. And they're called tussock, Tussock caterpillars.
And they're coming out of your oak trees.
Before we go, I do want to mention our Earth Day celebration on April 23rd for anyone in or near Hernando County. April 23rd from 9 to noon. We're having a collaborative Earth Day celebration, Florida-friendly Earth Day celebration at the Hernando County Master Gardener's Nursery. So there's an attraction right there. Get to buy some great Florida-friendly and native plants. We'll both be there. So, hey, what could be better than that? Also, we will have Bernie. Bernie's going to be there too. He's the big star of this program, our Master Gardener. Bernie will have a booth, so you can ask him questions directly. Going to have a native plant expert. We are going to have a couple of programs. There it is. One on pollinators, and that will be held by one of Bill's Master Gardeners, who's a retired entomologist from the forestry department. And we have a special fun thing. We're going to have someone teaching macro photography. So, just kind of wandering around the nursery and giving you tips in how to get great pictures, close-ups of either the plants or insects or whatever, you run across there. And, if you don't have a fancy camera or anything, just bring your phone and she'll be glad to show you how you can capture great pictures on your phone as well. We'll have a kids table. I think it's going to be a really good time. Okay, PJ's going to try and come down and meet us.
PJ's going to be there, and Tammy has lots of oak trees.
Yes.
Well, Tammy, you're going to get those caterpillars every year, and it's about every 5 years or so, we get a huge outbreak of them. So you're going to have twice as many as you normally have. Something to look forward to.
In a couple weeks, they'll be gone. And like I said, then we'll have love bugs. So.
Yeah, they're only here for a short time in the spring.
Oh, and also be careful out there. I guess it happened to a police officer in Martin County. It's just coincidental that he was a police officer. It can happen to anyone. The hawks are nesting, and they are, protective of their nests and their young. So be careful. If you hear a hawk screeching, you might want to pay attention that he might be screeching at you. So move further away or wear a hat when you're working outside, because they will swoop down and scratch your head pretty good. It's happened to, years ago, it happened to like 3 of our workers at different times just around this building. So now all the people who walk on their breaks, they make sure to either wear a hat or even carry an umbrella. So.
All these great spring things.
Yes.
We should do a class on that. All the great things about spring. The caterpillars, the Jadera bugs, the lubber grasshoppers, the hawks pecking you in the head.
One actually did come. I heard it screeching and saw its shadow at the same time that I realized, hey, he's screeching at me. And I was loading the work van. I dove in the back of the van. It's the only reason he didn't scrape my head up. So.
And crows. So we can throw crows in also. Okay, well, hey, guys, I think it's about that time. So thank you so much for joining us today. Oh, I almost forgot. I didn't have a chance to mention. We will be back again next Thursday. And next Thursday is going to be a very, very special session, class, episode, because it's going to be our 100th virtual plant clinic. Yay. So we're going to be asking you questions about, because I know a lot of you have been watching for a very, very long time. What have you learned and how has this benefited you? Because we like to know.
You. We want your stories. We want your success stories. And also, what have you learned?
And then the week after that is going to be even better, because that will technically be our 2-year anniversary of doing this. And we're going to get some guests in here with us. I don't know who yet, but we're going to get a bunch of guests in here.
We had a bunch of people to choose from at that meeting on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have to get back in the habit of inviting people and giving them dates and, firming it up for them to join us. So who do we have for the 2-year anniversary? I'm going to have to think about that one.
Yeah. We'll have to, think about it, or maybe somebody can email you suggestions.
How about the entire county commission?
Well, that would be interesting.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, everybody. And please be sure to join us again next week for our special 100th episode.
Right. And hey,
celebration.
For the 2-year anniversary, if you happen to be broadcasting from home, Lynn, there might be someone people want to meet at that point. If she can just sneak around your shoulder and say hello.
Yeah. My little patient helper who has to sit here and listen to me and listen to all my classes. Unless she puts her headphones on.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, but thanks again, guys. We'll see y'all again next week. See you then.
Thank you, everybody.